Hi everybody and welcome back. I have a what's for dinner video for you tonight. It's not probably the normal what's for dinner video that I usually put up, but I'm going to show you some of the things that we've been eating around here the last couple of weeks. I didn't have a video up last week, but I have been recording, and some of it's just little snapshots of some of the things that we've been eating, but hopefully you can get some ideas and inspiration even from that. We're a real life channel around here, so it's not always new recipes and fun and fabulous, new things to show you, but I am showing you some of the food that we've had to eat. So if you want to see just some real life food, I do have a couple recipes on here that I'll have down in the description box, but I hope that you get some ideas just seeing some of the things that we have had. So without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, we're going to start first with a soup recipe. And if you remember in my last What's for Dinner video, which has been 2 Sundays ago because I didn't have one up last Sunday, I showed you some classic things. One, I showed you a potato soup, and another one I showed you was like a yummy old bacon cheeseburger. Well, I'm going to start off with this soup that I'm making today, and it is a little bit of a combo of those. This is a cheeseburger soup, and it has potatoes in it per the recipe. So it's kind of a little combo of a couple things from last week. I have made this soup before. It's a really good one. I've only made it a few times, but that is, for this day, a pot of soup sounded good, and this is the one that I decided I was going to make. So let's talk about it here real quick. All right, let's season this up. It calls for Italian seasoning. It calls for some garlic, so I have some of this garlic in the jar here, and then I'm putting in some black pepper. Now I'm holding off on any salt because it does have copycat Velveeta cheese in there. I say that because I never buy the Velveeta. It's so expensive, and there are so many good store brands that cost way less. So I'm holding off on salt because I do not want to get this too salty. Now this soup has pretty few ingredients, and that's another great thing about it. In now was my beef broth, and then it calls for potatoes. I am using this bag of these hash brown, the more like the home style hash browns where they're the little cubes, and this is such a great shortcut. Anytime that you have these in your freezer and something calls for potatoes, you know it's just such a time saver. Now I'm putting in the amount of copycat Velveeta that it said to put in, but it was not nearly enough for my taste. I felt like it definitely needed extra, so I add some more here in the end. While that is simmering away, I'm going to make a little dessert. So I'm going to start off here with my cottage cheese. I don't have the full amount that I needed, but it was okay. And then you use a box of sugar-free Jell-O. Put that in with your cottage cheese, and you add in crushed pineapple and Cool Whip. That is it. And I call this Fluffy Stuff. I've seen it with all kinds of different names, but I didn't have the full amount of cottage cheese or the pineapple, but this is so versatile. It didn't make a difference whatsoever. You just get that all mixed together, and then you add in your whipped topping, and it makes such a low-calorie, high-protein, yummy little treat. I haven't made this in probably 2 or 3 years, and I am so glad that I made it. It is such a, it's really refreshing because it's cold. It's really good. So look below. I'll have that recipe. So I got that pulled together while the soup was simmering here. At this point, I decided after I gave a little taste test, I definitely want to add in some more cheese. This is pretty versatile recipe. But before I do that, I'm putting in the amount of milk and sour cream that it called for. This gives it that good good creamy component, and then I add in the extra cheese here. This soup is a really good one if you like potato soup, but say you have someone who likes to have meat and potatoes. This is definitely one that you can go for. Now, I have seen other recipes for this one that say you can top it with bacon, you can top it with pickles. We've never done that. We just usually have it just about like this, but I think the bacon sounds great. I had a few of these sweet Hawaiian rolls left over. That's what I decided to have with mine, so I'll give you a look here at my bowl. This was it here, so good. I love the sweet roll with this. And then James decided to go for croutons, and it was the bottom of the bag croutons, so he got all the yummy seasoned little bits that are at the bottom of the bag. This one is a really good, delicious, and easy soup. All right, I was so hungry for this. Have you ever had a smoked sausage and cheese biscuit with mustard on it? If you haven't, you don't know what you're missing. Get yourself a can of biscuits, get yourself a package of smoked sausage. I just happen to have the cheddar, and this is not a recipe. I'm just showing you what we had. This is so easy, you could do it with your eyes closed. I like to make it how my mom made it. You've heard me say that before, haven't you? So I split the sausages just like this. Now, it doesn't always have to be on a biscuit. It's great on a piece of white bread. So good, but I love it as a little biscuit sandwich, and that is what I was wanting. So I just browned up my sausage here, got a little color on that. And this is not what I had planned on making to go along with this, and I'm not even sure if it does go along with it, but I needed to use up this zucchini, and so I am just frying it up. And I never fry it up in slabs like this. I don't know why I did. It's just the way I decided to cut it up tonight. Do y'all ever do anything like that in the kitchen? Do it a certain way and then all of a sudden do it a different way? I don't know. This is just how I did it on this night. And like I said, I was just needing to use this up. I have said on here on my community tab that I have been helping out with my parents, and my siblings have been as well. And we just had both of our parents kind of have some health difficulties at the same time, and they are 83 and 86, and so we have just been helping out a lot there. So my schedule here at home has been very different than normal, and I've been going back and forth, and so I just didn't want this to waste. I had bought a bag of 3 and had already used 2 of them. I had this last one, so I was like, you know what, we're frying this up. So I just did some egg, dip it in the egg first, and then just some flour, salt, pepper, and we love fried zucchini. I don't have to have a reason to have fried zucchini. It doesn't have to be a season. It doesn't matter. We love it. It just isn't what I would typically think of making with this kind of a meal. But you know what? Everything really is kind of upside down for me right now, honestly. So we're just rolling with it, okay? That's just what we're doing. And then I just took the zucchini out of the pan and decided to go ahead and fry the eggs in here. Now, that's what I just planned on making, was those little sausage biscuits with eggs for dinner. That's just what I was hungry for, and plus it was just quick. But I didn't want to waste that zucchini, so that is what we had to go along with our breakfast, and it was really tasty. Definitely was delicious. If you want something quick and easy, I've said several times, having smoked sausage in your refrigerator is so versatile, and this is just another way that we like to have it sometimes. Right, let me show you a mistake, a series of unfortunate events, and luckily we were able to go ahead and make something out of the mistake. But I'm going to show you what happened and what we ended up making. So I've showed you these things before, and they happen to everybody in the kitchen. But yeah, this is what happened to me. So I started off with cutting up some red onion, and I had already diced up some tomato. And then I moved on to my avocado. So it looks pretty obvious probably to you what I am making. I was so excited for this guacamole. I did not have any cilantro, but I was going to go ahead with it. So there went my garlic powder, and wait for it. There it is. You see the long pause. I dump it out and just stand there and look at it like, oh no. Well, that was parsley. I just wanted a little bit in for color, and you can see what happened. I had taken off the little shaker lid because I get so tired of how slow it comes out, and it backfired on me. So I dumped some of that out and thought that I could probably redeem this guacamole. Well, no, I could not. There was just too much parsley in there. I dumped out as much as I could, but with all these loose vegetables, I couldn't like fully dump it because I would dump my vegetables. So I get all this done, taste it, and I'm like, no, this is basically ruined. And I'm like, oh my word, are you kidding me? It was fresh tomato, fresh purple onion, red onion, whatever, fresh avocado, and I have ruined it with this parsley. So I'm like, what can I do now? What do I have to throw out this whole entire thing? So I decided that I would use this kind of as the base for a sauce. So I poured in some jalapeno juice, some fresh jalapenos. You can see I've put everything now into my blender. I put in some sour cream and some mayonnaise. And I just thought, you know what, we're going to make like a creamy guacamole type of sauce, or an avocado sauce. So I got that all in there. I added in some lime, and I'm like, that doesn't taste too bad. So I decided that I could probably use this as a sauce or a dip, something like that. But you know what? I'm just going to tell you what I did. After I did all this, I did not even want to make Mexican for dinner. I didn't even want it. So I switched gears. I didn't even make it. I don't even know what I made that night. I was just kind of frustrated about the whole thing. But what I did do was I took that sauce, I put it in this Ziploc bag, and I just put it in the freezer. I know you can freeze avocado, and I knew the rest of it would be basically just a sauce. I knew it would be fine. So I put it in the freezer. So this is a few weeks later. I pulled out some refried beans that I had made from scratch. I did fresh, dry pinto beans and made a big crock pot of refried beans. I had some left that I had put in the freezer. So I decided I was going to mix those two together, and I'm going to use that as a layer on the 7-layer Mexican dip. Well, you can see here that that's not what I did, because I ended up using my cream cheese that I also needed for a layer for the dessert that I'm getting ready to show you next. And this was all for the same day. So when I got ready to make this 7-layer Mexican dip, I discovered that I had already used my cream cheese for the dessert that I'm getting ready to show you. So I was thinking, oh great, now what am I going to do? So I had a package of fresh tortillas, and I decided to mix together. Well, I'd already mixed together because that was going to be a layer for that 7-layer dip. I decided to just make little, basically like the, what are those things called? I can't think, taquitos. So I was like, I'll do like a little bean taquito. Well, they turned into more like a burrito size, I guess, because I couldn't roll them tight enough without the beans squishing all out. You guys, I told you, this is like a whole saga, is this not? But guess what? These were so good. I put them on the tortilla. I put some queso cheese, like the shredded queso quesadilla cheese, I think is what it's called. And these were so good. I fried them up here in my pan with a little olive oil, got them to where they were crispy on the outside, and these were so, so good. The thing that was kind of the tricky part, this was for church fellowship meal, and this all happened like late Saturday evening when I was prepping some of the stuff ahead, when I discovered that I had used my only block of cream cheese for the dessert that I'm getting ready to show you. So I had to come up with something, but you know what? It all turned out great. These were all gone quickly. There was not anything left in my baking dish. They were really tasty. So it was just like a really flavorful bean, like a fried bean burrito kind of, with such a yummy sauce in there. Turned out great. Now, here's my dessert that I also made. And this also was so, so good. And how easy was it? Very, because it started off with this box cake mix. I had a spice cake mix that needed to be used, and I looked up a recipe for a carrot cake, and it called for just your traditional ingredients like, your eggs, your oil, whatever. It also called for crushed pineapple. So I decided to drain off the pineapple and use the juice from the pineapple as the water that the cake mix called for. So in place of water, I used the pineapple juice. I shredded in some fresh carrots, and I'm telling you, this was good. Again, there was not a single piece of this cake left, and my son Gunnar, his wife Abigail is such a great baker. She's a great cook, but she makes the best desserts as well. Gunnar said, "Mom, this is probably the best carrot cake I've ever had." And it really was so, so good. And how great that it started with a box cake mix. It was so easy. And honestly, you guys, like I told you, things are just a little upside down for us right now. And thus probably me making a whole series of crazy mistakes in the kitchen. I'm just doing the best I can here. This turned out so, so good. And I was just so happy for that. All, crisis averted again. And it's okay if it wasn't, and we had to throw everything in the trash. It wouldn't be the end of the world. Definitely not. But we were able to make it work. Anyhow, this box cake mix with those added ingredients made a delicious carrot cake. I just baked it per box directions, and then I decided to make a fresh batch of cream cheese frosting to go on top, and that's what I used my box of cream cheese for, that I needed for that Mexican layer dip. But oh my goodness, like I said, this turned out so, so good. Now, I typically would have added some pecans or some walnuts, but I didn't have any, and we just topped it with this icing. I ended up doing that at church because my cake was still warm. I needed to let it cool down because this was actually Sunday morning, so I just took this icing with me, frosting, whatever, and frosted it at church, and it was great. Okay, another night, James laid out these sirloin steaks, and here we are. He grilled those up. That's what he was wanting that night, and man, those were so, so good. I just used some of that Omaha steak seasoning, and then I wanted to make some deviled eggs to go along with the steak. And I don't know what I'm telling you all the things that went wrong all in one video apparently, but for some reason the yolks of these eggs were very chewy. I don't know what the deal was. So they didn't turn out that great, to tell you the honest truth. We didn't even eat all of them. I made way more than, of course, we needed for dinner, but we like to just snack on deviled eggs when I have them made. I always make plenty. But for some reason, the yolks just were chewy. Even I used my hand mixer, and I don't know, they just weren't the best. But I like to use Miracle Whip when I have it. A little bit of mustard, a little bit of hot sauce, and I use my little cookie scoop here to fill up my eggs real quickly. Topped it with a little bit of paprika, and then also I had a few potatoes. I boiled those up for some mashed potatoes, and the steak and mashed potatoes were great. The eggs, they were just okay, but you win some, you lose some. And James also wanted Hamburger Helper, and I had picked up a couple boxes of these for 99 cents at Kroger. So I made the deluxe cheeseburger macaroni with some corn and some of those sweet rolls. And a couple nights later, he said, "Do you have any more Hamburger Helper?" And this one was called Chili Cheeseburger, I believe it was. And so it was so good with the corn. I made that again, and this night we had tater tots. Like I said, with things being so kind of topsy-turvy right now, I'm just definitely not on a normal schedule around here cooking or shopping or anything else. But I wanted to show you, this is more like a little food vlog, I guess, more than a whole lot of recipes. But my brother made this. He's an excellent cook. He made this at my mom and dad's for them on Sunday. It was made in his Instant Pot. He made this beef stew. It was so good. He's a really great cook, and so is my sister. Thank you so much for watching. If you stayed all the way to the end and you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. This is kind of maybe a little bit more of a food vlog style than necessarily a whole bunch of maybe new and inspiring recipes. But I hope you guys still love me anyway, and hopefully we'll have some new recipes and maybe some fun stuff next week. Tell me how you're doing down in the comments, and I always appreciate when y'all stop by my channel and spend a little time here with me in my kitchen. All right. See you next time. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.